Mr. Fry, are you out there in cyberspace? There you are.
Here I am. I am indeed. Just been lurking in the background, Peter. So look, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on as well, and also for taking the time to put together these absolutely fascinating insights. You know, I really appreciate the fact that this is a major challenge as well, given that it's such a rapidly evolving ecosystem. So look, I just wanted to take a little bit of time just to cover a couple of areas of interest. And I thought I'd begin with a couple of comments on how Ireland has fared during the COVID pandemic. Ireland has proved to be one of the most resilient economies during this crisis. IDA recorded positive employment growth of 3.6% during 2020 to reach record employment of 257,400 staff amongst its foreign direct investment client companies. Heading into this crisis, the business sectors deemed to be least affected by COVID, according to the OECD, made up 79% of Ireland's economic output, one of the highest international proportions in the OECD, which I believe serves to demonstrate the agility of digitally enabled businesses in Ireland. Ireland also had the highest pre-COVID crisis rates of remote working in the EU. We came in at 7% relative to an EU average of 5%. So during lockdown, we actually found with our own surveys that 52% of IDA client company employees were able to work from home as a result. The financial services sector, as a result of its embracing of the technology and digital services, has enabled the flow of money to continue around the economy during COVID. We have witnessed fintechs play an outsized part in achieving this through direct B2C interaction, as well as supporting mature financial institutions in achieving this mission. This has been reflected also in the fact that fintechs have been amongst the few sectors that have been steadily growing their workforce during this pandemic. So that's something that you were alluding to earlier in your presentation. And IDA has been working closely with them in order for them to achieve this. Client acquisition has also continued to be strong in this space as the population becomes increasingly dependent on digital services, and mature institutions increase their reliance on technology to maintain business continuity. As a result, the Irish government's appetite for attracting cutting-edge, disruptive companies to develop and distribute their products from Ireland remains a key priority. This is reflected in its Ireland for Finance Action Plan 2021, where 2 of the 4 strategy pillars of focus are diversification and digitalization. Additionally, it promotes fostering collaboration between financial services and tech firms in the Grand Canal Innovation District, also known as Silicon Docks. The action plan also has established a Department of Finance Fintech group, which we heard Karen tell us about earlier, and it includes plans to launch a new master's program in fintech innovation. So if you want to learn more about any of these, I would strongly encourage you to actually look up this action plan, as it contains a lot more detail in these areas. I'll move on now to take a closer look at FDI into Ireland during the last year. Reassuringly, investor interest in Ireland has remained strong throughout the pandemic, despite the multiple challenges that companies and their employees have been facing. Native English common law jurisdiction, robust regulator, sophisticated and deep talent pools are some of the top reasons that we regularly hear from clients as to why they select Ireland. The strong interest remains from firms seeking to establish regulated EU subsidiaries in the jurisdiction, with e-money, AIFMD, and specialized depository licenses being among the most popular. However, in conjunction with these, multiple conversations are being had on establishing data analytics centers, teams, machine learning, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity, and RPA operations in Ireland. Something we expect to follow once authorization has been received and firms direct their operational focus to devote resources to these activities. This has partly been driven by the growing recognition of Ireland as a global international fintech hub, with over a dozen regulated payments and e-money firms setting up in Ireland since the Brexit referendum. This ecosystem was developed alongside the significant financial services and technology talent pool already present in the country, with over 430 international and domestic financial services multinational corporations operating in Ireland, employing over 48,000 people nationally and contributing about 6% to Irish GDP. Additionally, we count 9 of the top 10 global software companies in Ireland, having the top 3 software companies, top 5 global cybersecurity companies, amongst those who have set up significant operations. To continue to bolster this cross-pollination of tech talent, the Irish government will be launching its national AI strategy later this month in order to position Ireland as a leading country in the adoption and deployment of AI across society. The attraction of this business activity to Ireland is further encouraged by the establishment of the Innovation Hub at the Central Bank of Ireland, which is a dedicated point of contact for firms seeking to innovate in financial services. In their latest update report, the CBI has identified 2 high-level trends amongst firms innovating in Ireland during 2020, which I find particularly interesting. The first is of securely transferring data, which has resulted in multiple registrations of firms as account service information providers under PSD2, as well as the factoring in of non-financial data into decision-making models. The other trend identified is the continued integration of blockchain into financial services firms' technology stack, as well as the maturing of infrastructure to support the trading of digital assets. IDA's newly launched 4-year foreign direct investment strategy is strongly geared towards accelerating investment into the above-mentioned areas, as we're acutely aware that Ireland is having now to compete globally to win these types of investments. It would be remiss of me not to mention the additional dimension of sustainability, which has been given its own dedicated pillar in the strategy, with the aim of assisting our client companies to integrate green and ESG elements into their investments. So I'll leave it there and hand it back to you, Peter. All right, I think you're on mute.
I am indeed, yeah. You think you know what the mute button is, but with these floating screens, it sort of ends up somewhere you don't expect. Yeah, I mean, good call for the Innovation Hub, and folk can find that on the Central Bank's website. Peter, I may have a question for Byron, but do you have one for him that you'd like to ask him?
No, I think Byron's given us a great answer to the question around the Khalifa report for the UK in terms of the Ireland for Finance Action Plan, and conscious of time, I won't ask any other questions. That was a great update. Thanks, Byron.
I'll just ask you one quick question, Byron, a short answer if you may. What you think is the biggest challenge facing fintechs looking to set up in Ireland? If you just said, look, here are 3 challenges, I would just tell them to focus on. Yeah,
I'll keep it very high level. So certainly familiarity with the ecosystem is a challenge, and that's something where IDA engages with client firms to seek to educate them on. That ties in closely with knowledge and the depth and quality of talent available in Ireland, not just in Dublin, but nationally. One of the other challenges we notice is operational bandwidth. Fintechs that we engage with are fast growth. They're very focused on market acquisition and expansion. So working with them in terms of long-term planning and conducting detailed due diligence can be difficult when people are being pulled in multiple directions. And then finally, I might mention financing as well, and the ability to engage with VCs, private equity funds, and sovereign wealth funds as well to secure financing to continue their international growth as well. We notice this is sometimes a hurdle, but again, something that we can help firms connect into.
Byron, you're an absolute star. Thanks for that, because you've also brought us in onto the clock as well. Listen, I know you guys are busy. It's a tough week. You're out there. Big week for Irish government, Irish issues, to get them out there to leverage St. Paddy's Day. So well done, and thanks for your time.